president has been losing momentum ever since his painful debate performance 3 weeks ago. But the question remains, who would replace him?
Vice President Kamala Harris is being floated as the most likely option. ABC 7 News anchor Julian Glover joins us here in studio with a look at her chances. Julian.
Good evening, Dan and Amma. A senior Biden administration official telling ABC News that President Biden has asked for polling to show how Vice President Kamala Harris would do against former President Donald Trump in a head-to-head matchup if, and that is a big if, President Biden decides to step aside. But for Kamala Harris, who is no stranger to being the first in shattering glass ceilings, this could be the toughest one for her to crack yet. Vice President Kamala Harris spotted in Washington, D.C. Friday afternoon with her grandnieces visiting an ice cream shop opened by Tyra Banks. Harris ignored questions from reporters asking what she would say to Democratic voters. Harris on the attack during a rally in Fayetteville, North Carolina Thursday night, making her case for a second Biden-Harris term.
So, friends, I say the contrast between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is like night and day.
The vice president remains all in on the ticket publicly as more than 30 congressional Democrats demand President Biden pass the torch. Among the rising stars in the Democratic Party, Harris, born in Oakland, raised in Berkeley, is one of the most likely replacements for Biden should he step aside.
But right now, as it stands, she would have the first right of refusal or the first right to attempt to get the Democratic nomination. And everybody else, I think, would stand back.
ABC 7 News insider Phil Mateer said Harris at the top of the ticket would be the best path for Dems to avoid chaos at the Democratic National Convention set for Chicago next month, a shift that the San Francisco Democratic County Central Committee is calling for.
If Biden steps down, we wanted Vice President Harris to be the nominee for president. She had the resources, she has the time, and she has the experience.
Local Democrats are prepared to kick campaigning into overdrive should Harris be named the Democratic presidential nominee.
From San Francisco, from the city that she started her political career in, we are speaking from the personal experience of what we've seen her do as an impact on our city.
During her nearly 4 years in the White House, Harris has been tasked with handling some of the most divisive issues, from securing the southern border to women's reproductive rights, efforts that could be applauded by Democrats and picked apart by Republicans.
There's a good chance that she would be more motivational because it would be different, that people would wake up and say, this is what it's about. If Kamala Harris is the nominee, there's only one choice. Is it Trump or not?
In speaking with Harris's close childhood friend, Carol Porter, she remains confident that Biden and Harris are united together.
Biden-Harris together is the ticket. And I know that's where Kamala wants to go. And I know that's where Biden wants to go. Kamala's values, her life experiences are to help all people.
Again, if Biden will step aside, and if is the big question, and it's a decision that will need to happen quickly. For example, the DNC, August 19th, and just days later, Democrats have to certify the name that will appear on ballots this November. The deadline in Texas, for example, just 4 days after the convention ends. Dan, Amma.